Before the dawn of humanity, a battle raged above the heavens, unseen to mortal eyes. A war not fought with swords or shields, but with pride, power, and the eternal struggle between good and evil. Have you ever wondered about the invisible war that shaped the world as we know it? This battle began long before Adam and Eve, with the creation of beings unlike any we can truly understand, the Jinn and the Angels. In the beginning there was harmony in the heavens, but as time passed, the peace was shattered. The Jinn, created from fire, were gifted with freedom, a freedom that would lead them to both greatness and destruction. In contrast, the angels were made from light, bound by duty and loyalty to their Creator. The difference in their creation would become the spark that ignited the flames of conflict. But what happens when beings of such power clash? When the desire for control and the thirst for greatness blind them to their purpose. The story of the Jinn and Angels is one of temptation, pride, and a deep spiritual battle that continues to shape the course of humanity. It's a story that begins with the rise and fall of the Jinn, a race that once thrived but ultimately succumbed to their own pride. This is the story of the battle that began in the heavens, a battle that would lead to the creation of humanity, and to a choice we all still face today, the choice between pride and humility, between deception and faith. Join me as we uncover the mystery of the Jinn and Angels, the truth behind their conflict, and the powerful lessons that still echo through the lives we live today. In the beginning, when the heavens were still untouched by the hands of time, there was a vast and beautiful creation. The world above was filled with countless beings, each made for a purpose, each living in harmony with the Creator. Among these beings were the Jinn and the Angels, two races so different in nature, yet bound by a shared origin, the will of Allah. The angels were created from light, beings of purity and obedience, entrusted with duties beyond comprehension. Their very essence was bound to the will of Allah. They were without choice, designed to serve, to worship, and to protect the heavens and the earth. They moved in a realm of perfect obedience, their actions always aligned with the divine will. But what of the Jinn, the mysterious creatures made from smokeless fire? Their creation, though stemming from the will of Allah, was radically different. They were granted freedom to choose their path, to act according to their will. This was a gift, but also a burden. For in their free will, there existed the potential for greatness, but also for destruction. The Jinn were the inhabitants of a world that existed before mankind. They were powerful beings, capable of great feats, yet not bound by the same laws of nature that governed the angels. They lived in a state of peace and prosperity, their societies flourishing with knowledge, culture, and creativity. For a time, the Jinn were the rulers of their world, free to roam the heavens and the earth. They could travel to distant lands, explore hidden realms, and wield unimaginable powers. Their world was one of freedom, a freedom that gave rise to ambition and desire. However, with freedom came temptation. The Jinn, despite their initial peace, began to yearn for more. They sought power, dominion over all that they could see. Their ambition grew, and with it, their pride. For the Jinn, the power they wielded was not enough. They wanted to rise above the limitations of their creation, to challenge the Creator's design. It was in this moment that the seeds of conflict were sown. The once peaceful and prosperous Jinn, in their pursuit of power and greatness, began to fall into pride and arrogance. This rise of pride and ambition would eventually lead to their downfall. But before that happened, they reached a time of great prosperity, a time known as the Golden Age of the Jinn. During this period, the Jinn were revered for their wisdom and strength. their civilization flourished in ways that no mortal could imagine. They built cities in the skies, created wonders that defied the laws of nature, and harnessed powers that seemed to reach into the very fabric of creation itself. It was a time of great achievements, but it was also a time of growing discontent. As the Jinn's power grew, so did their dissatisfaction with their place in the universe. They began to question the divine order, challenging the boundaries that had been set for them. In their hearts, the seeds of rebellion began to grow, and with rebellion came the fall of the Jinn. The very thing that had been their greatest gift, their freedom, had become their greatest curse. The golden age of the Jinn was a time of incredible potential, but it was also a time of great peril. The Jinn had the freedom to shape their destiny, but their choices led them down a path of destruction. It was their pride, their ambition, that ultimately led them to conflict with the angels and to the fall of their great civilization. But what can we learn from the rise and fall of the Jinn? The Jinn were given the gift of freedom, but they allowed their pride and ambition to cloud their judgment. In their pursuit of power, they lost sight of the divine purpose for which they were created. The lesson here is clear. Freedom is a gift, but it must be used wisely. Ambition can drive us to great heights, but unchecked, it can also lead to our downfall. The Jinn's golden age, while a time of achievement, was also a time of warning. The more we strive for power and greatness, the more we must guard against the temptations of pride and arrogance. As the Jinn continued to fall deeper into rebellion, they reached the point of no return. It was then that the Creator decided that a new creation would be born, a creation that would inherit the earth, a creation that would not be made of fire or light, but of something much humbler, clay. It was the creation of humanity, the story of Adam, that would set the stage for the greatest battle the world had ever known. A battle between the Jinn, the angels, and humanity itself. The story of the Jinn is not just one of ancient conflict. It is a story that still resonates today. It serves as a reminder that freedom is not without its challenges. The Jinn's golden age reminds us that even the greatest achievements can be overshadowed by pride and greed. Their downfall serves as a cautionary tale, one that warns us about the dangers of losing sight of our true purpose. We are all given freedom, the freedom to choose our path, to make our decisions. But with that freedom comes responsibility. The choices we make today will shape our future. Like the Jinn, we must guard against the temptations of pride and ambition, and instead seek to use our freedom wisely, with humility and purpose. And so, as the Jinn's golden age came to an end, a new chapter began, a chapter that would change the course of history forever. The creation of humanity, the rise of Adam, was the beginning of a new era, one that would witness the clash of good and evil, the battle for the soul of mankind. The Jinn and the angels would continue their war, but now humanity would find itself caught in the middle. As the Jinn's ambition grew, so did their rebellion. Their pride had reached a boiling point, and they had begun to challenge the divine order set by the Creator. The heavens, once a place of harmony, were now a battleground. The angels, pure and loyal, had long been the guardians of the divine order, but now their peaceful existence was threatened by the arrogance of the Jinn. The war that had quietly begun in the hearts of the Jinn now spilled over into the heavens themselves. It was at this moment that the Creator, in his infinite wisdom, decided to intervene. The battle between the Jinn and the angels was not just a conflict of power, but a test of loyalty, faith, and the very essence of creation. The Jinn, with their pride and ambition, sought to dethrone the Creator and challenge his authority. The angels, however, remained steadfast in their obedience, knowing their purpose was to serve and protect the divine will. In the midst of this celestial chaos, there was one jinn who stood out above the rest. Iblis, also known as Azil. Iblis was once a high-ranking jinn, revered for his wisdom and strength. He had been among the most loyal servants of Allah. But when the Creator decided to create Adam, a new being formed from clay, everything changed. Iblis, in his pride and arrogance, could not accept that a creature made from something as humble as clay would be given dominion over the earth. His heart was consumed with jealousy and disdain. He refused to bow to Adam, and in doing so, he rejected the Creator's command. This moment marked the beginning of a catastrophic shift. Iblis's refusal to bow was not simply an act of defiance, it was an act of rebellion. The Creator, seeing Iblis's pride, cast him out of the heavens, and so the once noble jinn, who had been entrusted with freedom, was now consumed by anger and jealousy, forever cursed to lead the forces of evil. But the battle was far from over. With Iblis now the leader of the rebellious jinn, the war between the jinn and the angels intensified. The angels fought valiantly, led by those who remained loyal to the Creator, including the archangel Gabriel. The battle raged across the heavens, a battle not just of power, but of faith and loyalty. It was a war that would shape the fate of all creation. The jinn, driven by their arrogance and desire for power, sought to overthrow the divine order. The angels, fueled by their love and obedience to Allah, fought to protect the sanctity of creation. As this celestial war raged on, the Creator, in his wisdom, decided to create a new being, a being that would bring balance to the universe. This new being was unlike the jinn and the angels. It was humanity. Allah shaped Adam from the clay of the earth, breathing life into him and giving him the gift of free will. Adam was to be the successor of the earth, a steward of creation, and the first human being. This new creation, made from clay, would be tested in ways the jinn and angels could never be. Unlike the angels, who were bound to obedience, and unlike the jinn, who were free but led astray by pride, humans were given the gift of choice. They could choose to follow the path of righteousness or succumb to temptation. They were given the responsibility to care for the earth and all its creatures. But with that responsibility came great trials. When the creation of Adam was complete, and he was placed in the Garden of Eden, the final test began. Iblis, still consumed by his jealousy, could not bear the thought of this new creation being given such importance. In his hatred for Adam and his desire to lead the rebellion, Iblis refused to accept the Creator's plan. He approached Adam and Eve, the first humans, and whispered in their ears, planting the seeds of doubt and temptation. He told them that eating from the forbidden tree would make them like the angels, knowing good and evil. He promised them power, freedom, and knowledge beyond their understanding. And so, the battle that had raged in the heavens now descended to the earth. Iblis, with his cunning and deceit, sought to lead humanity astray, just as he had led the jinn. He appealed to their desires, their curiosity, and their ambition. But Adam and Eve were not without guidance. They were given a warning, the knowledge of right and wrong, and the choice to follow the Creator's will. Yet, the temptation proved too great. They gave in to the whispers of Iblis and ate from the forbidden tree. The moment they did, the consequences were immediate. The paradise of Eden was lost to them. They became aware of their nakedness, their vulnerability, and the weight of their actions. The Creator, seeing that humanity had fallen into temptation, sent them out of the garden, marking the beginning of their journey on earth. But even in this moment of despair, the Creator did not abandon them. He promised that humanity would be given guidance and the chance for redemption. Thus, the great battle began in earnest. The Jinn, led by Iblis, would continue their efforts to lead humanity astray, while the angels, ever loyal to the Creator, would serve as protectors and guides. Humanity, caught in the middle of this cosmic struggle, would face the greatest challenge of all, the struggle between good and evil, between obedience and rebellion. This battle between the Jinn and the angels, which began in the heavens, now continued on earth, played out in the hearts and minds of every human being. The war between the forces of pride and humility, deception and truth would continue until the end of time. But the lesson was clear. Humanity, with the gift of free will, must choose which side to follow. The road to righteousness was not easy, and the temptation to stray from the path was ever present. But with faith in the Creator, humanity could overcome the challenges set before them. The story of the Jinn, the angels, and the creation of humanity is not just a tale from the past. It is a story that continues to resonate today. The battle between pride and humility, deception and truth, continues in every heart. And it is through our choices that we determine the course of our lives. Will we follow the path of righteousness? Or will we be led astray by the whispers of Iblis? The answer lies within us all. The battle that began in the heavens did not end when Adam and Eve were cast from the Garden of Eden. No, it continued, and this time it was a war that waged within the hearts and minds of humanity. The external battle between the angels and the Jinn, good and evil, now reflected the internal struggles faced by every human being. It became a spiritual war, a battle of temptation and inner conflict that would challenge every person throughout time. The inner battle and temptation. Iblis, the fallen Jinn, was not content with merely being cast out of paradise. His hatred for Adam and humanity burned with a fierce intensity. His fall from grace had left him filled with a vengeful desire to corrupt and mislead mankind. He knew that while the Creator had granted humanity free will, that same gift could be their greatest weakness. Free will allowed for choice, and with choice came the ability to be deceived, to fall into temptation. Iblis, determined to lead Adam and his descendants astray, began his work of sowing doubt and discord in the hearts of men and women. The temptation was not always obvious. It was not a visible force, an external enemy to be fought with swords or shields. No, Iblis used subtler tactics, whispers, doubts, pride, envy, and desire. His weapon was the mind, and his battleground was the heart. In the beginning, Adam and Eve fell victim to his whispers. The temptation to eat from the forbidden tree was powerful, wrapped in the guise of something good. Iblis promised them knowledge, power, and immortality. What harm could there be in gaining wisdom after all? But the truth was different. His promise was a lie, for the fruit brought with it only shame, guilt, and the loss of their innocence. After their fall, the battle against temptation did not end. It simply began anew. Each human born into this world would face this same struggle, an ongoing conflict between their higher nature and the darker whispers that sought to lead them astray. In the depths of our hearts, each of us carries the potential to be both good and evil, to be guided by virtue or led astray by temptation. And every day, we make choices that either strengthen our connection to the Creator or draw us further from Him. The battle against temptation is one of the greatest spiritual challenges humanity faces. It is not a one-time event, but a lifelong struggle. The temptation to seek power, control, wealth, or pleasure, often at the cost of others, is a constant presence. And Iblis is ever ready, waiting for moments of weakness when doubt creeps in, when pride inflates the ego, or when the allure of sin becomes too strong to resist. But there is a lesson in this struggle. The very fact that humanity has been given the gift of free will means that we have the ability to choose the right path. While the temptation is real, so too is the strength to overcome it. The Creator has not left us alone in this battle. Through prayer, faith, humility, and self-awareness, we are given the tools to resist the whispers of Iblis. And every time we choose righteousness over temptation, we move closer to the Creator, drawing strength from our struggle and building our spiritual resilience. Spiritual warfare and warnings. The spiritual battle between good and evil, light and darkness, is not just a battle waged in the hearts of individuals. It is also a battle that takes place on a larger scale, a battle for the soul of humanity itself. Iblis, now the leader of the rebellious Jinn, seeks to corrupt the hearts of all humans, to pull them away from the path of righteousness. He and his followers lurk in the shadows, ready to pounce on anyone who is weak, lost, or distracted. The temptation is not just external. It has become an integral part of the spiritual warfare that defines human existence. Throughout history, many people have fallen prey to the forces of darkness, often unknowingly. The spiritual war is one that is fought in the unseen realm, and it manifests in the lives of people every day. Whether through greed, hatred, lust, or pride, these are the tools of the enemy, weapons that Iblis uses to divide and destroy. The world is filled with distractions, temptations, and false promises, all designed to keep humanity from the truth, to blind them from the light of faith. But there is hope. The Creator, in His mercy and wisdom, has given humanity guidance, reminders, and the means to protect themselves from these spiritual attacks. The Quran, the Holy Scriptures, and the teachings of the prophets are the spiritual armor that protects us in this battle. The Creator has sent His angels to guide us, protect us, and remind us of His presence. And through faith, prayer, and the remembrance of Allah, we can shield ourselves from the deceptions of Iblis and his army of jinn. There are warnings throughout the sacred texts, urging us to be aware of the dangers of pride, arrogance, and temptation. The story of Iblis serves as a cautionary tale. It is the story of a being who was once great, who had power and wisdom, but whose downfall came when he allowed his pride and jealousy to overshadow his loyalty to the Creator. Iblis's rebellion did not come suddenly. It began with small whispers, moments of doubt, and thoughts of superiority. He became convinced that he deserved more, that he was better than the newly created human being, Adam. And that small seed of pride led to his fall from grace, to his eternal rebellion. Just as Iblis's fall began with pride, so too does the fall of every soul that succumbs to temptation. The warning is clear. Temptation is subtle, and pride can lead to destruction. The battle within our hearts may be invisible, but it is real. The stakes are high. The fate of our souls is on the line. But the victory, too, is ours. By resisting the temptation to follow the path of darkness and instead choosing the path of humility, faith, and obedience, we can win this battle. The war is not over, but we are not without help. The angels are our protectors, and the Creator has not left us defenseless. The spiritual warfare is ongoing, but with each victory over temptation, with each step taken in faith, we move closer to the light. The battle may be fierce, but with steadfastness and trust in Allah, we will emerge victorious. This is the essence of the spiritual war. The battle between good and evil is fought within every heart, every soul. It is a battle that will continue until the end of time. But it is a battle we do not face alone. Through prayer, guidance, and remembrance, we can protect ourselves from the deceptions of Iblis and find peace in the arms of the Creator. This is the ultimate lesson. The war is not only fought in the world around us, but in the deepest corners of our hearts. As we reflect on the story of the battle between the Jinn, the angels, and humanity, we come to understand that the conflict we see in the heavens is not simply a tale of ancient times, but a story that resonates with each one of us today. The war that began long ago continues in the hearts of every person alive. Every day, we face choices that either align us with the forces of good or the forces of evil. And this battle is one that will continue for as long as we live. It is the battle of pride versus humility, temptation versus righteousness, and deception versus truth. The Jinn, in their rebellion, represent the danger of unchecked ambition, of pride that blinds us to the truth. Iblis, the leader of the rebellious Jinn, teaches us the deadly consequences of jealousy, arrogance, and disobedience. His story is a reminder that no matter how powerful or wise we may become, if we allow pride to take root in our hearts, we risk losing everything. The angels, in contrast, stand as a symbol of loyalty, faith, and humility. They remind us that true strength lies not in power or dominance, but in obedience to the Creator's will. Their unwavering dedication is a model for how we should approach life, guided by faith, grounded in humility, and always ready to serve the greater good. But what about humanity? Where do we fit into this cosmic struggle? We were created as stewards of the earth, entrusted with the responsibility to care for creation, but also given the freedom to choose our path. With this freedom comes the greatest challenge of all, the choice to follow the path of righteousness, or to succumb to the temptations that surround us. The story of Adam and Eve serves as a powerful lesson for us all. Though they were created in paradise, they fell because they gave in to temptation. They listened to the whispers of Iblis, who promised them knowledge and power, but in the end, they were led astray, just as so many are today. Every day, we face the same choices that Adam and Eve faced. Temptation calls out to us, promising us things that seem so desirable, so innocent. Yet, as we've seen, giving in to these temptations can have far-reaching consequences. The allure of power, fame, wealth, and pleasure can cloud our judgment and lead us down a path of destruction. But we also have something Adam and Eve did not have: a direct connection to the Creator through faith, prayer, and guidance. Unlike the Jinn, we are not bound by pride and rebellion. We have the ability to resist the whispers of temptation and to choose a path that leads to peace, fulfillment, and eternal reward. The war that the Jinn and the angels waged in the heavens is not just a distant memory. It is a war that is fought in our hearts every day. The temptation to follow our desires, to be swept away by the chaos of the world, is ever present. But with the guidance of our faith, we have the power to resist. The key to winning this battle is to stay grounded in our beliefs, to remember the lessons of the past, and to always seek the truth. Just as the Jinn were deceived by their pride and ambition, we too must guard against the same pitfalls. The world today is full of distractions, social media, entertainment, materialism, all of which can pull us away from our true purpose. It's easy to get caught up in the noise, to focus on our own desires and forget the bigger picture. But if we remember the story of the Jinn, if we look to the angels for inspiration, we will see that true fulfillment comes not from what the world offers, but from following the will of the Creator and living in harmony with His plan for us. In this ongoing spiritual war, we are not left defenseless. We are given the tools we need to succeed: faith, prayer, self-awareness, and the guidance of sacred texts. Through these, we can resist the temptations of Iblis and stay true to the path of righteousness. The battle may be fierce, but we are not alone. The angels, the guardians of the divine order, stand by our side, and with every step we take in faith, we grow stronger in our ability to overcome the darkness. Now, as we come to the end of this story, I encourage you to reflect on your own journey. What choices are you making today? Are you allowing temptation to lead you astray, or are you choosing to walk in the light? The battle between good and evil is not just an ancient tale. It is the story of every day, of every heart, of every soul. But just as the Creator has given us the freedom to choose, He has also given us the strength to overcome. If this story resonated with you, if you found inspiration in the lessons of the Jinn, the angels, and humanity's struggle, I invite you to like and subscribe to this channel. Join us in continuing this journey of discovery, reflection, and spiritual growth. Share your thoughts in the comments. Let us know how you are choosing to fight this battle in your own life. Together, we can strengthen our faith, support one another in this fight, and walk the path of righteousness, no matter the challenges we face. Remember, the war for your soul is ongoing, but you have the power to choose which side you stand on. With the guidance of the Creator and the strength of our faith, we can emerge victorious in this battle. Stay strong, stay humble, and always choose the light. Thank you for watching, and may peace and blessings be upon you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this message with others who may need it. Together, let's continue this journey toward the truth and the light of the Creator.